G'day, this is Captainoob, and this is a Thorton Galena G240. This is a front-wheel drive hot hatchback type vehicle, obviously of the economy variety, because look at this thing. Starting off the bat, look at the paintwork on this thing. It seems like it's had a few panels replaced in its life, the paint is rusted and everything. You can get this one for $13,000 from Regina, provided you've got a little bit of street cred, not much. You'll find that this is one of the first cars that you do unlock in your playthrough. But is it worth it? We'll find out in a second. But first we'll have a little bit of background information. If we give this thing a scan, this thing's production year was from 2031 to 2055, which means in the year of 2077, this thing is already 30 to 40-ish years old at this point. So I think a lot of the horsepower that was originally in this, which is 86 right now, probably would have escaped by now. So 86 is a little bit of a high estimate there. It is a front-wheel drive, which means it's going to be a little bit better if you're just gunning it all the time, or won't have all the power in the world to make these back tires slip out, because obviously it's a front-wheel drive. It's also got a fairly light weight, which means the mileage of this thing with the fuel is good. Not that that's really a factor in this, but I suppose that would be if this was a thing in real life. Also, a little bit of flavor text for the info. It says, cheap and reliable. This cult favorite was immortalized in the 2034 punk rock hit Poundin' Gina in My Galena. So, you know, this thing's a hit with all of the punks and the hippies. So, again, that's another mark against it. But taking a look at this thing, it seems to have widened rear tires, looks aftermarket, and some of these panels here don't look like the original ones here. You've got this grey door which doesn't match the rest of this thing, and then they've got this thing which looks like a custom job. And why would you put a bonnet scoop or a hood scoop? Hang on, do I have to make this video for Americans? A bonnet scoop on a car like this. You can open this up, by the way, and you can take a look inside. Yep. Probably seen better days. Also, another thing about cars, if I can just close that, is that you've got a stash in the back, which you can open up. And there you go. You get some things. You can chuck these in there if you want. Why not? There you go. They don't actually appear at all, but I suppose we should start talking about this thing's performance, right? Whoops. Just close that. Cyberpunk, work with me. So I've devised a vigorous amount of tests. First of all, we're going to be testing the speed. What we've got here is a long stretch of road. We're going to be throwing the clock on, and we're going to time a few things. We're going to time how long it takes from 0 to 60, how long it takes from 0 to 100, and how long it takes to get to the top speed and what that top speed is. So we'll just hop in here and make sure we get in the right side, because apparently all you Americans drive on the wrong side of the car. And then we're just going to hold down the W key and see how we go. And we're off the line. No wheel spin here. We don't have enough power to actually make that happen. But if we do this, we're driving straight. We've hit 60 already. We're approaching 100 rapidly. Starting to fall off a little bit. And we're there. Let's see how long it takes us to get up to top speed at this point. We're climbing 108, 9, 110. Getting there, keep going, don't stop now. Looks like we're approaching the limiter, and it looks like the top speed of this thing is 120. She's not going to go much faster than that unless you are driving it downhill. Which means if you want to get somewhere fast, don't bother picking this one up. Which is kind of interesting because there's cars in this game that don't sting you for 13,000, which are a lot faster than this. Unless you really don't like those cars, then, I mean, there's always this option, but I would probably not recommend using this thing ever. If you want to be a completionist and having every single car in the game, then sure, pick this up, but there's better options, like the car that you get, or the motor black that, that the dude has, there, Jackie's Arch. I forgot his name for a second. Also, if you start off with a Nomad character, you get the Galena Rattler, which is immensely superior to this in every way, which, you know, it's a nice thing to have that as a little bit of a roleplay thing, I suppose. And you've also got Delamain's cab. You can grab this if you do a side quest for him, but it's a little bit slow as well. But I think these two, Jackie's Arch and then the starting off car. Where is that? The it's not the Brute. It is the Howler. The Howler ECD 1360. This thing, or is it i360? This thing you'll find has a lot better in terms of horsepower, and I like how it just teleports in. Sure, it might not be as good around corners, but if you're gonna ram into stuff anyway, you might as well, make it a little bit quicker. If we give this one a quick scan, yeah. This is also a front-wheel drive, but plenty more horsepower and not a significant more amount of weight. Now we've just held up traffic, but we'll guess I'll touch on that one another day. So, not the fastest thing in the world, but maybe it's got some saving graces in its ability to drive around town. Maybe it's more controllable. Let's find out. Okay, so here's my next test. With Cyberpunk, I've found that most of the time when you are utilizing cars, you're going from short distances from A to B. You don't do the long 3+ kilometer journeys because you've got those fast travel stations over there marked in blue. So with that in mind, I've devised a little bit of a track here, and what I'm going to be testing is going through here and around here. It's going to be testing the suspension of the car because there's a lot of verticality involved here, the braking, the steering, and the agility as we're weaving through traffic. Let's see how we go. We're going to be starting at Caradine's house and going to V's apartment in the main city. Let's begin. Off the line we go. We'll try to keep on our side of the road if we can, but if we happen to take up all the road, that's fine. And you'll notice as I'm going down here, it's hopping around. I'm messing with the suspension a little bit, and I've already hit top speed here, so I better not hit anything around here to make this thing veer off course. But if that keeps hopping around, and we'll just cut across the grass here, if it keeps hopping around and you're getting air, I'm not going to get any traction, and that would be bad. Quickly sweep around this little chicane here. A couple of cars to weave around. Release the accelerator, make sure we don't hit the wall. And it's been a pretty clean run so far. This is a little bit of a sharper turn. We've got a car coming up, so we'll slow down to weave inside that. And we'll keep on going. The level, it's flattening out now, so that's pretty good. We'll quickly try to get a good entrance out of this. Kind of messed up a little bit, but we'll try to get a quick exit out of here. A couple more things to weave around. Traffic's pretty light. I'm not sure if there's a setting to increase or decrease traffic, but maybe it's good for the processors if there's not a whole lot. So we're coming into less than a K now, and it's going to start to get a little bit more tight around here. Going up on two wheels around that corner, we're doing proper race car stuff here. And now we've got a long straight, which for this car is, it's like we're sailing towards there. We better get the sails going because I think we'd be beaten by a boat across here. Not a speedboat either, like one of those pirate ships. That'd be quicker. As we're coming in here, hard on the brakes. Go through here, make sure we don't hit that, which we did. Don't worry, we'll just edit that out. You won't have to see that. And we'll keep on going. We don't have a lot of speed now, so we should take this corner without too much on the brakes. And we hit a small car. Couldn't really see that one coming. But at the same time, they weren't using their indicators. And a couple more turns, one more car on the way. We'll just file in behind. Fine, be that way. And we're here. So, it wasn't an exceptionally terrible drive, but it wasn't a quick one either. This thing bopping along on the downhills there. Not a good sign, but it could be this game's vehicle mechanics, but I've never experienced that with anything else. So yeah, the Galena G240, it did okay. I'd expect a little bit better from something of this size for agility, but it doesn't seem to have gone terribly here. Okay, now for another test. Does it skid? Don't try this at home, children, you lose your license. Not speaking from experience. Now, obviously being a front wheel drive, you can't really do it forward, but if you try backwards, well, you can do this. Just get myself nice and centered here. Yeah! I mean, it's something, right? Proper donuts. Alright. So, with all that vigorous testing done, what could I possibly say about the Galena G420? Well, I feel like if I pushed a shopping trolley, I would be faster, which is not a very good thing to say about a car like this. And for 13,000, you already start off with better cars anyway, so I'm not really seeing the point of owning one of these things at all, to be honest. But if you want to have something where if you accidentally run a few people down and you don't want to get away from the cops, you know, they'll kill you, well, this will be the car for you. This is certainly not a good getaway car, that's for sure. It looks like crap, it drives like crap, the suspension is about as good as any basic Peugeot these days, which is to say, utter trash. So, you're not getting a whole lot of bang for your buck out of that. And in fact, it's more fun earning the 13,000 just doing the various sub-quests and gigs in this game than it is to spend the money and buy one of these and drive one of these. So with that, I think it is time to end the review. This thing is going to get sent off the cliff and never, ever be used again. Thank you very much for watching, guys. What, you thought I was kidding when I said I'd throw it off a cliff? Nah, we're doing this. Whee! Godspeed. Still going. The tumble test is now going to be a thing. Yep. Okay. I think that this car is at the end of its road. Yeah, I'm making the tumble test a thing. This has got to be a thing that's going to happen. Still drivable after that. Just, I've turned it into a hovercraft, which is even more impressive, to be honest.